In this video, we're going to go over a new feature in the Lichess analysis tool and talk about how to create your own opening repertoire using this tool. So let's look at the Goring Gambit, for example. e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6, d4, c takes d, c3, d takes c, knight takes c3. How do we turn off the arrows? Okay, there we go. So now, after knight takes c3, let's look at the book stats. Bishop to b4, 32,600 games. And one thing that I did here was I like to go into the settings and pick rating ranges based on players that I plan to face. So like for the opening courses, I tend to do settings like this, 1600 to 2200, because I want it to be courses for club level players and I want the percentages to match what the purchasers of the course are likely to see in their games. So you can go to the settings with this gear tool and you can pick the ratings. And here we have number of games for each move, white's win percentage, the draw percentage, and black's win percentage with the ratings when you hover over them. But there's a new feature that Lichess added and I really like this. It's the summation row where it says out of all of these moves, what's the total number of games played, the score for white, score for black. So previously you would have to always back up a move and look at knight takes c3 and assume that this score is pretty close to if you click on the move, but it won't pick up all the transpositions. So it's better now to use this new tool that Lichess added, this new row, to show what's the score in this position. Now, when you're making your own opening course, I like to see what percentage of the time is each move played out of the total. So let's say maybe you only want to go through branches that are like close to this total, maybe 20% or more. So here we would only consider bishop b4 or d6. And then as you see other lines in your games, you could add to it. So let's go down the main line. Bishop to b4. Now here we can see white wins 59% with bishop to c4. And the engine confirms that it's one of the top moves, so we could decide this is our repertoire move. And now here we see a couple different options for black. Bishop takes c3, knight f6. Let's follow the main line. Bishop takes, b takes, d6 is the top move. Now here we see castle, queen b3, knight g5, and queen to b3 is scoring the best, and I think that's kind of in the spirit of the opening, targeting this pawn on f7. Queen e7 is the top move, and now look at this, castling scores 62%, so let's see why. There must be some mistakes coming up here for black. Knight f6, main move. Wow, look at this, 68%, pawn to e5. So what's happening here is half the time white is playing d takes e. And if you look at Stockfish, that's a +7. Bishop to a3 wins 95% of the time. This is essentially game over after bishop a3. +7. So this can be part of your repertoire. And then you can go back to the last branching point and say, okay, well now let's look at knight takes e5. So here we can go knight takes, pawn takes back, and white's not scoring as well, but you do still have quite a bit of play. And this is a reasonable line. Like here you could play bishop to b5, and I think the top move for black is actually moving the king, which not a lot of players want to do. So this is 2 lines so far, and now you can go back to the last branching point. So what I'm doing is I'm looking at the moves for black. Here we see 1,000 games for knight f6, the next is 250. Okay, let's keep going back. Queen e7, by far the top move, so let's keep going. Okay, here's the first branching point with multiple moves that are pretty common. Let's look at knight e7. Look at this, 72% knight to g5. So this is scoring really well in practice, and Stockfish likes it as well. Wow, castle, very top move is castling. 85 win percentage for white. Queen to h5, and this is game over. +6 again. So this is really exciting, and this is how you can build a repertoire. So I'm just going through these lines, looking at Black's main replies, and then looking at their second most common replies, and seeing which of those replies can be punished and how to punish them. h6, we have knight takes f7, attacking the queen. Black tends to sacrifice here, and you can play bishop takes f7, and this position is already winning according to Stockfish. You're in a castle next, you're up material, the black king is in danger. Alright, so let's see, what other moves could Black play here? Knight f6 is pretty common. Again, it's a mistake. Bishop to a3 is the way to punish it. 64 win percentage, 0.8 according to Stockfish. Blocks castling. So most players play d6, which is another mistake because of this nice tactic, pawn to e5. And look at the white percentages, 71% overall. And depending on what Black does, sometimes it's up to 75, 77%. Wow, great position for White. I used to play the Goring Gambit when I was a kid. I may go back to playing the Goring Gambit sometimes just because it's such a fun opening, and there's so many traps that Black can fall for. Alright, so let's go back. Looks like a pretty good position for White already. What else can Black try here? Pawn to h6. This feels too slow. Queen b3 or castling. Queen b3 is 62%. Stockfish likes castling, already an advantage for White. Let's see why this is 62%. Queen e7, top move. Bishop to a3. Oh wow. Queen takes e4. King d1. There's rook e1 threats. So Black does have the advantage here, according to Stockfish. And we're only looking at 4 games, so I'm not sure if I like this line. Let's go with the Stockfish move here because White already does have the advantage. Bishop a3 or castle. Let's castle. Now Black tends to play knight e7. And here Stockfish says knight h4 is good. Bishop b3, rook e1. Let's go knight h4. Castle, most popular move. Now queen h5. Another thing you can do is you can click on this threat tool to see what White's threatening. Bishop takes h6 is a threat. Other moves look a little bit slower. Pawn to f4 maybe. Okay. d6, most popular move. And look at this. Bishop takes h6. G takes. Queen takes. The threat is knight to g6. Wow. And f4 and this rook is going to come into the game to help checkmate. So White's already doing really well here. This might be a win for White. As the Stockfish depth climbs higher, I have it on only one CPU, but this eval is just going up and up. So this is already close to winning. So the new tool I really wanted to highlight was this summation line. But this is also kind of a video to show you guys how you can build out your own opening repertoire. So now that I know that I like castling here, I'm going to delete this queen b3 line because I only want to show my main moves as White and then show the options for my opponent. Queen e7 is another popular move here. And look at that, 0.8 for White. Let's castle. Can't take because of rook e1. Okay, d6, most popular move. And bishop to a3 is 0.9, rook e1 is 0.7. Bishop a3 scores really well. Let's look at that. Bishop g4, most common. And now queen to b3, hitting b7. Black still cannot castle. Kingside. So Black castles queenside. Rook f to b1, rook a to b1. 1.4 advantage. And now we're out of game. So we could probably stop our line here. Or if you want it, you could give black a couple moves. But white has a nice advantage already. So let's go back to here. Let's look at an early knight f6. Pretend black doesn't capture. Pawn to e5. Knight to e4, most common move, is a mistake. Queen to d5, hitting the knight and threatening mate. That's pretty much game over right there. +5. There's so many traps that black has to watch out for. So pawn to d5 keeps it equal, but white is scoring 51 to 42%. This line is boring compared to everything else we looked at, but white does have a small advantage in practice and pretty much equality with the eval. So this could be part of your repertoire too, knowing that black makes mistakes here quite a bit. I mean, white's winning 65% to black's 31%. All right, so I hope this video helped you guys, just give you some insights on how to form your own repertoire using the Lichess analysis tool. I'm actually in a Lichess study. So what you could do is you could have different chapters in your study, one chapter for each different line you want to play. Like maybe you do one for Goring Gambit, e4, e5, and you could have a different chapter for Sicilian, French has a chapter, Caro has a chapter, and so on. And maybe in 10 chapters you have a full opening course. And I would recommend you start small, base it on the Lichess percentages at your rating, and then as you see new lines, go in and add them and figure out what you want to play going forward. And then every so often review a whole chapter. So like maybe you face a French and you feel it didn't go that well, even though your opponent played into a line that you know. Go in and review those lines, add some text, find some sample games of other players in those lines. Maybe you need to tweak your lines. You didn't have a line you were very comfortable with and you want to revise it. That's fine too. But yeah, so this is the new Lichess tool showing the sum at the bottom. I keep calling it a tool. It's not really a tool, but it's a total row that they added. And this is how to build an opening course using this new row. So hope you guys liked the video. Please give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe if you're not a subscriber, and we'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.